Elite Season map maker. Let's spin. Judgment of Karen. God damn, that is loud. I'll reroll. Right. Spin to win. Okay, Quest Heresy. Right, starting off on the top side of the map, we've got Torpid playing as the Brother Captain and Lomors on the bottom side of the map as a Farseer. The map is randomed as Quest Heresy. Torpid was the first command pick with the Brother Captain, with Lomors coming in as a Farseer. So, from this particular game, Rangers might have a bit of a difficult time if they can't actually get into the centre of the map, just because of them being stuck down this little pathway here, but if Lomors can kind of secure that centre of the map, then things should be okay. Looks like either a fast Rangers or a fast Guardian weapons team here for Lomors. Actually, a second Banshee squad could be quite interesting. Generally, we've seen a few builds involving two strike squads, both with the Nemesis melee upgrades, so two Banshees to try and counteract that could potentially work quite well. It may come down to which squad gets specials and which one do not. Dire Avengers take quite a bit of damage though, will be able to evacuate with all 5 models remaining. Banshees are going to make their way towards mid, or kind of just sit here. Lomors may be waiting for the second set of Banshees to group up here, and then may just try and go in as a group. Going to be an early power node in the centre there. But the Banshees don't really have much requisition, since Banshees themselves do cost 350 each, so quite expensive. And straight away do see the Nemesis Force melee upgrade here for the strike squad, providing some additional melee skill and melee damage. One Banshee squad will chase some IST, the second one is actually going to be fighting the Brother Captain here. Brother Captain though does get a special. Second Banshee squad coming in for a bit of assistance. The first one is going to vacate the area, and these Banshees haven't really done so much damage. Brother Captain is still reasonably healthy there with 2/3 of his health remaining. Farseer now on her own, trying to pick away at some ISTs, has actually done a decent job, but gained special by the strike squad. Banshees are going to come in there, really going hard for these IST though. Going to be unsuccessful in finishing off the squad though. One model is quite far away, and it's going to be a full retreat here for Lomors. Not really sure about the amount of damage that he dealt in this engagement here. Banshees are able to sight with just 2 models.
Ready here.
You know, it's my IC just going to kind of go around the map. Going to be very annoying for these Dire Avengers to actually try and engage them. Dire Avengers will win the fight if they can actually get into the face of these IST, but the Brother Captain just going to pop his head around the corner. And so far the double Banshee build not really working for Lomors, kind of relied on the first engagement to try and wipe a squad by the looks of things, but unsuccessful in doing so. It's going to spend a lot of requisition on trying to reinforce, and it's going to be a little bit behind in terms of power. Typically you sometimes see Eldar go for its very early generators or 2 early generators, but not really possible with the double Banshee build. Strike squad going to come in once again. The Banshee is going to go for the Brother Captain this time. They should be able to force him off. Is forced into a very early retreat. Look like they might have potentially have killed him there. Guide onto the Banshees here. Should be able to get a strike squad model. Damage boost on Guide being 30%. Definitely helping out quite a lot. We have some operatives on the field ready to go. The Torpid able to evacuate there without losing any models. Dire Avengers going to get a little bit caught out of green cover there. That Farseer taking quite a whack of damage though. And the 2 Banshees here really going to struggle against these IST. The grenade has already been used, so it's on cooldown. Banshees though just going to fleece in. These IST are a little bit difficult to hit, although when you get a special like that, it comes in very handy. They will not be able to wipe the squad, but they will be able to pick up a few models. More than what they would have probably got previously. They're actually going to jump onto the strike squad here. They are quite deep into enemy territory. Incendiary grenade getting thrown down, and Banshees will be able to leave I don't think either squad didn't lose any models there, so a nice little trade there for Lomors. But we'll be in base for a little bit. Overall, map control still belonging to Torpid. It's currently 500 VPs, 423. Torpid in control of the right hand side and the center requisition point. Guiding weapons team going to be unable to do too much. I'm not even going to try and enter into that webway gate. If the webway gate is the only one on the field and does go down, you will lose all your units, so definitely don't want to enter that if that is your only one on the field. You know, Dire Avengers is just going to be the capping unit by the looks of things, but these operatives are going to be fairly annoying, just infiltrating around the map and trying to set up ambushes wherever possible. Dire Avengers are going to get caught out. I'm curious how much damage these operatives will do. Force them into a retreat straight away, so I won't actually get to see the true damage, but Strike Squad going to come in, they are going to get suppressed, so the squad should be forced to retreat almost immediately. And will be forced off. We're on the other side of the map. Banshees are taking quite a bit of damage there, but still not losing any models at the moment, so things are going okay here for Lomors, but we'll see how things change in Tier 2. I think Lomors will have an easier Tier 2 compared to this Tier 1 that he's having. But these operatives and IST just darting around the map, making it very difficult for Lomors to get to a fast Tier 2. Power-wise, both players are exactly even, Lomors with a slight requisition advantage, so players should be going to Tier 2 at the same time. Maybe a slight delay now for Torpid, now that they did lose that generator. Destroyer operatives coming around from the side. The Banshees are just going to go straight in. These operatives are being ignored though. The Banshees actually end up running past them a little bit. The Banshees there on the back line trying to chase away the IST. These IST though go to get pincered. That could be a dead squad. A grenade does get thrown down, but it is going to miss, and that's one IST squad currently dead. The Banshees maybe chasing it a little bit too far now, and it looks like it's going to be a full retreat for Lomors. Securing the kill onto the IST there. Going to be a nice little victory. Second IST squad has now got a sergeant leading them too, so we will see some more instant grenades getting thrown down. But Dire Avengers trying to do what they can, but the Brother Captain isn't actually after them, so never mind. Should be able to get a decap on the VP. Definitely need some VP points at this time. 500 to 342. Torpid going to be the first person to Tier 2. Lomors looks like he spent some extra power or something. It looks like it was on the healing stones, is it? No, spirit stones, sorry. It does allow you to heal up your squads back up to full health nearly instantly, so pretty useful with a double Banshee build, but is going to delay Tier 2 a little bit in comparison to Torpid. Curious to see what the Farseer can do with the Banshees. I think Torpid could potentially win this fight. The operatives are already softening up the units quite a lot, but the healing comes in maybe a little bit too early. Maybe should have waited for the Banshees to have dealt a bit more damage or taken a bit more damage. You see Mind Blades getting activated onto the Strike Squad to improve their melee damage and melee skill, but going to be a bit too much there for Lomors. You know, Banshees on the left-hand side, map control very much in Torpid's favour at the moment. So we do have the webway gate here, but operatives are detectors, so should be able to spot that if they were to run up a little bit closer. Guardian Weapons team gets to set up once again, but the incendiary bomb goes on top of the Guardian Weapons team. Will be forced into retreat. It's actually a smoke grenade as well, so it was actually faked out there. IST going to run all the way back to base, but will break retreat. And she's just hopping over the wall, but again, forced into retreat, taking a bit too much damage here. Still on full model counts. Looks like Lomors has got something queued up after his Tier 2, since he's currently got no resources whatsoever. See what these Banshees and Farseer can do. Need to get right on top of the IST squad. They do retreat away almost instantly. And the Banshees can't get any sort of specials, not on their feet to try and secure a few model kills. And Rhino is actually going to go for an assault turret here. A lot of infantry on the field, but confident that Lomors is not going to be anywhere close to Tier 2, or confident they won't have anything out. With the assault turret though being purchased, it means that if a Falcon does come out, it's going to be a bit more awkward for Torpid to deal with it, but with the assault turret though, you do get the ability to apply a lot more pressure against your opponents in the early stages of the game. Just going to drive in here. Meanwhile, bbboscasts taking the fights here against the Banshees. He was actually going to win there and force them off. Do have the Nemesis Halberd being purchased for him as well. Bright Lance Weapons, his team is on the field. And we'll see if they can make some use of this weapon gate. The Razorback is actually going to somewhat avoid it. I don't think it can drive forward because of this gate in the way though. Razorback is actually going to go down. Bright Lance paying for itself already in the very first engagement. So it's going to be a Purgation squad coming out for Torpid now. Not sure if Torpid was aware of the webway gate there. That Farseer is so low. Banshee's going to come in, going to use their screen, but it's not going to be enough. The bbboscasts is actually going to get the final hit there on retreat. And I think with this Nemesis, bbboscasts just needs to be careful. Does get a special, but the Banshees are still hitting on him. Are able to finish off the bbboscasts and will be able to leave. The Exarch still alive. Torpid now down to just 3 squads. It's getting a second Purgation squad, so we'll see how that does in Tier 2. We know Lomors still on 4 squads overall. Looks like Torpid's trying to target the webway gate, but may potentially miss. The Banshee's actually just going to exit it and start hammering away at them. May potentially get a model there, but decides back away. Don't actually have the Acolyte leading these IST as well. Level 2 squad's quite tanky at this point now with 1,100 HP. Banshees still able to get on top of the squad and do pick off a few models there. Torpid now realising what happened to his Rhino a bit earlier on, why it got so stuck. But also getting a decent amount of map control back in this game, was behind quite a bit. But it's now starting to, map's starting to look a bit more red now. Do have a Grey Knight Dreadnought on the way. The Bright Lance Weapons team is still on the field. Farseer has been repurchased as well, but Bright Lance and Farseer are not going to be enough AV overall. We'll need something a bit more substantial. Potentially some Warp Spiders to lock the Dreadnought in place, or even a Wraith Lord, something just to kind of absorb some of the damage that it deals. You have the Purgation squad arming himself with some silencers, or Psycannons, sorry. So we'll have to deal some damage against everything in this game. You know, Grey Knight Dreadnought making its way towards mid, still with its default weapon. Bbboscasts returned and ready to go. Currently just with the 2 upgrades at the moment, the Lomors are just fleecing around, trying to get a flank against something. However, will be detected by these operatives. Webway gate finally found there by Torpid, should now be killed. Farseer and the Banshee is going to force off those operatives, and Dreadnought is just going to make its way over to the generator farm. It's actually going to burn it down there with its little Zippo lighter. Nothing to answer it at the moment. The Bright Lance Weapons team is setting up though. Dreadnought is quite tanky at 1300 HP, making it the tankier variant in comparison to the Space Marine and Chaos versions.
One of our generators is under attack.
You know, Banshee's just on the backside of the map. One going to be bashing, one going to go for the VP, I'd imagine. And we have that Wraith Lord coming out from Lomors to try and contest against the Dreadnought. You know, Dreadnought in retreat, going to use its little knife there to try and cut down some Banshee models. Unable to actually wipe any there. Banshees will just get healed up by the Farseer when they leave the base. Same with this second squad as well. Not able to kill any models. With the Farseer having the Spirit Stones, it should be a fairly easy heal there for her. ISTs though with the Acolyte leader. Probably needs to make their way over to the Dreadnought, give it a bit of repair. Though it's only on, though it's still only lost 190 HP, but always worth trying to keep it as healthy as possible, ready for the next engagement. Wraith Lord approaching the field. Tier 3 for Torpid as well, so likely to see some Terminators or Paladins getting called in. Got the Bright Lance upgrade coming in for this Wraith Lord. He's going to start hitting away at this Dreadnought. Wraith Lord is currently without any support whatsoever at the moment, so We need to be a little bit careful. We do have the Bright Lance weapons team setting up behind it. The Banshees and Farsi are going to come in for a flank. This Dreadnought, in fact, is actually taking a lot of damage. With the Bright Lance on this Wraithlord, that should be a dead Dreadnought. Is actually going to go down in this engagement. Bright Lance weapons team is going to back away, and these Acolyte IST squad is actually going to use this game. It's just got so many models and so much health that Banshees are going to have a hard time trying to finish it off. Rob Captain going to back away here. Map really starting to open out for Lomors there. With the Dreadnought down, there's not too much to threaten these Banshees. But Torpid has got quite a bit of red stored up, so likely to see some Paladins or some Terminators hit the field, which should be able to contest against these Banshees. Bright's weapons team will need to be a bit careful. Power is going to get bashed, but I believe Torpid will have enough for a Terminator's very least. Terminator's only costing 100 power. Banshees going to be able to finish off the Rob Captain. Things are starting to fall apart a little bit here. Rob Captain needs to remain alive. Torpid down to just 3 squads. We know Lomors on 5 squads with his commander alive. Banshee's going to get on top of these IST, gain some specials as well. They may be able to wipe the squad or potentially get one of the lead models here. The squad will be able to make it out alive. And Wraithlord just going to carry on firing its Bright Lance there from range, from the safety of the centre of the map there. Dire Avenger is going to receive some upgrades now. Do have the aspects of the Dire Avenger as well as the X-Arc to lead them to provide some additional tankiness and damage. Now the Purgation squad just on this left-hand side. The Purgation squad's not really done too much this game. I've not seen them too much. Kind of been off to the side capping by the looks of things. And Torpid going to be rebuilding his power node here. 350 requisition, 100 power. Looks like may opt to go for a Paladins, given that he's saving up for a... Given that he did have enough power for the Terminators and decided to put down the power node once again.
Support structure complete.
Webway gates getting dotted around the map now. Wraithlord just going to sit there and kind of chill. Generator does get placed down, so Torpid looking for the kind of longer tier 3 here. Not trying to rush out a unit, but just trying to get his economy back in order. Does have the VP advantage, is double of what Lomors VPs are, so does have plenty of time. To actually have the Doom upgrade here for the Farsi, which I really do like.
Generator operational.
When placing Doom on the enemy, does reduce, or does increase the amount of damage that they take rather by 40%, so can be incredibly effective against vehicles or just any kind of high value targets if you want to try and snipe it down. These Banshees though, just going to kind of chill hit. The Lomors going to be taken up to tier 3 as well, so we could see a Seer Council in response to Paladins coming out. Doom Gate used here, and with the Wraithlord on retreat here, that's quite a few models going down. Side cannons are hammering away at that Farseer. She is so low but is able to escape as melee has been forced onto the Purgation squad before they're able to deal enough damage. IST going to dart round to that left hand side, but the entire right hand side right now belonging to Lomors. Torpid though does look like he's got enough requisition and power, and the Paladin Calling is going to be coming in here. Banshees are just going to leave that area, not wanting any part of it, but they actually just bypass it, go straight for the IST. Banshees, while their power melee is effective against super heavy infantry, they are going to struggle against Paladins tier 1 units versus a tier 3 unit. Even the Wraithlord is going to have a bit of a rough time with 700 HP trying to contest against that. He's level 2 now, so we'll have a bit of extra health. Farseer though, once back onto the field with Doom and with Guide, should be able to deal enough damage to kill the Paladins, or at least force them into teleporting away. Lomors though, now grouped up, is now got his eyes set on these Paladins. They are going to get detected though. Paladins now forced to teleport away, but Paladins cannot retreat. The Banshees still have their movement speed from the fleet foot. So we'll see if they can chase in a bit further. The Purgation squad trying to do what they can in range. Doom has been placed down, and Lomors deciding to back out of that engagement there. Paladins are still very much healthy. They're not actually taking any damage whatsoever despite Doom getting placed onto them. Bright Lance weapons team can try and use its Scorch Beam as well to increase the amount of damage taken by a unit as well as Doom, so Paladins do need to be a bit careful. While they are very tanky, they do risk dying. You can see the Flamer upgraded as well. It's going to help soften up the Banshees when they try and come into melee combat against these Purifiers. Bright Lance weapons team could have potentially have gone down there, but the Purifiers making their focus the Wraith Lord instead. Lomors does have 500 requisition and 300 red, so potentially we could see a Seer Council call in it as well. And we just see just that, Seer Council now out on the field. Going to be coming in for a bit of a flank by the looks of things. May decide to come out of a different webway gate though. 235 VPs to 175, the VP count coming very close together. Torpid, still with his brother Captain dead at the moment, could potentially repurchase him shortly, does have enough requisition to do so. Actually going to have a flank once again. This Purgation though, very vulnerable. That's a lot of power melee in a very small area. That Purgation squad is going to be assassinated completely. Paladins will now be the focus, but Doom has already been cast. But Seer Council and Banshees and a Wraith Lord, that's a lot of damage that Paladins will need to contest against. They are down 1,400 HP already. Forced to try and walk away there as much as possible. Meanwhile, Lomors going to regain some map control now around this webway gate. I wonder if Torpid realizes that there's a webway gate in this area, but we'll need to send some operatives to try and detect that, but operatives are currently the other side of the map, capping this VP instead. Paladin still moving around the map. It's going to be an intercept squad coming in to try and counter the Wraith Lord, I imagine. Interceptors being a melee unit that can also swap into silencers, can kind of dart around the map and try and give Torpid some extra map control. In fact, it actually cancels that in favour of getting the Bruv Captain out on the field. Are going to see the Holy Armour of Titan does grant the Bruv Captain invulnerability for a short amount of time, if I remember that correctly. Paladins getting engagement here against some Banshees. You see the Shockwave missing the Banshees as they do retreat away in time. Meanwhile, Seer Council still somewhere on the map here. Currently walking around with the Wraith Guard. Do see time field getting placed down here. The Paladins did teleport in, which is a bit curious to see. Generally wants to save that teleport defensively for as much as possible, but Torpid confidently can win there with the Banshees being forced into a retreat. Banshees are going to come in for some assistance. Farseer is going to, or should be, using Doom here. Wraith Lord has been stunned, the healing stones have gone down. These Paladins have already taken a lot of damage. Banshees just leaping over that wall. This looks like it will be the final fight in this game. Whoever wins this fight should win the game in theory. Doom now being placed down on the Paladins, 2,000 HP. One model does fall. Banshees are now down several models, and Seer Council is currently forced off the field as well, but the Wraith Lord and Farseer are still fairly healthy. Teleport is still on cooldown at the moment. Wraith Lord is going to get special against these Paladins. They are so low, down to 500 HP. Teleport looks like it is ready to go. They will be able to teleport out of there just in time. Dire Avengers are going to come in for a bit of assistance, and Seer Council look like they're going to go for the kill of the Paladins here. 320 HP, there's only 3 models in the Seer Council, but they do 40 power melee damage each. Even if he does get an extra model, that will definitely be worth it, but actually going to wipe the entire squad there. Seer Council will now fall back to base. And it looks like the game is going to go to the Lomors at this point, but the Paladins down and Torpid not having enough money to repurchase it. Things are looking a bit grim here for Ordo Malleus. Operatives going to put an end to that gate, but the Banshees are going to come out just in time. Operatives potentially going to lose a model there, but will be able to escape on 4 still. Bright Lance Weapons team is going to just about get a capture here. It does need to retreat away. Time field getting used once again on top of these interceptors and operatives. Interceptors don't have a Justica leading them at the moment, but Brother Captain though using the Holy Armour of Titan, currently invulnerable at the moment, but not really going to win that engagement with the Wraith Lord hitting away there. Going to be forced into a retreat. Meanwhile, Banshees trying to do what they can to try and hold its position. 208 VPs to 98. Lomors still behind on VPs, but definitely ahead in terms of army. Seer Council back up to 5 members. Banshees capping on both VPs on the left-hand side. It's going to be a triple cap here for Lomors in the second, and Wraithlord is just going to sit in between these two VPs by the looks of it, and just try and take a defensive position. We do have the Wraithbone upgrade line. The Wraithlord to very quickly heal back up to full health. Does make it invulnerable for the duration, but does mean that you can kind of leave your Wraithlord without having Dire Avengers so close by. Meanwhile, Torpid going to go for a big push down this left-hand side. Has to be the left-hand side to try and reduce the VP count as much as possible. A nice time field, though, is going to lock out most of Torpid's units. Banshee's not really able to do too much there with the time field, but does buy him some time. Seer Council now out in the field. Going to try and come in here as well. Interceptor is going to interrupt these Seer Council though and will back away, but Ron Capson is going to try and fight the Seer Council, but Ron Capson is going to lose this fight horribly. Seer Council has been guided, and the Farseer has used her Doom ability on the Rob Capson. You see the invulnerability coming in, making him immune to all the damage, so that's been largely negated. The overall map control is still going towards the Lomors. He is going to win this engagement here. Wraithlord coming up to level 3 as well. There's not really much to answer it. Torpid's just mainly having to avoid it as much as possible, which isn't really working out too well in this game. Interceptors do have the ability to stun it in place, but there's no AV to really follow it up.
We have 100 points remaining.
Wraithlord looking like he's going to try and capture that power node. Going to be disappointed when he realizes that he cannot do that. Interceptors look like they're going to prep for this Wraithlord actually, who switch back to their melee weapons. Time field getting used once again. Lomors just buying as much time as possible. Banshees are on top of these IST here, and Interceptors are going to lose this fight horribly. Doom needs to teleport out of there where possible. Doom has been casting them 2 models full. One does look like it will barely escape away, but the squad has lost quite a bit. It looks like Paladins are going to get called in once again. Waiting for a Seer Council though are on the field here, and I think that Lomors can just win this fight. Just heal up his army back up to full HP. Do see a Shockwave going to go down here. It's going to be able to rip through one of the Banshee squads, but they are still healthy enough to remain in the fight for a little bit longer. GG does get called. You can see the Paladin's health is just dropping rapidly, and even if Torpid were to win this engagement, it's a triple cap against him, and that means that game 1 is going to go towards the Lomors.
Those who hold fast to the Emperor are never truly defeated.
After such a very strong early game from Torpid, it's very surprising to see Lomors come back very strong, hitting hard in tier 3, especially against Auto Malleus as well. Commander levels 6 and 5. Been to win once again. Oh, Fedric Volley. Right. Welcome to game number 2 then. Torpid going to be swapping to an Inquisitor this game. The Lord General has been banned by Lomors, so forced into the Inquisitor instead, and Lomors going to be as a Warlock. Wanted the Warp Spider Exarch, but that was also banned, and Torpid saying that he's got the range setting on, something you definitely do not want, as it just gets in the way everywhere. Going to be triple Dire Avengers coming in here for Lomors. No Banshees on the field. Typically you don't see Banshees too much against Imperial Guard due to the Sentinel being a decent counter to them, and generally most Imperial Guard heroes not really minding fighting the Banshees too much. Meanwhile, Warlock going to go down that right hand side, going to be uncontested. Torpid not even going to bother going down that left hand side, is actually going to go straight for a decap here on this requisition point. Always annoying to play against, as you have to spend more time to just go and capture that back up. Dire Avengers though taking quite a bit of damage, actually forced into a retreat there. Sentinel not really taking too much damage in return, will easily be repaired back up to full HP, and the Maul is just going to carry on capturing some bits on the high ground. Inquisitor, they're going to be making their way towards the high ground. The Dire Avengers are grouping up a little bit here. Warlock still on that right hand side, so no melee support, and Lomors actually going to back away from the top side here. You can see Hammer of the Witches on this particular Dire Avenger model if Torpid so desires to try and kill it, but going to leave that out for now. There's actually going to be 2 Sentinels here for Torpid. That's harder to manage, but can definitely be incredibly annoying against triple Dire Avengers especially. Dire Avengers are not the cheapest unit to replace on a frequent basis. You know, Warlock just going to try and do what he can. Warlock take quite a bit of damage though. By the time he gets into the fight, he's going to be softened up quite a bit, so the Inquisitor and this other Sentinel should be in a decent position to fight. You know, Sentinel just poking away there is getting repaired up by some Guardsmen.
Go ahead, sir.
Do have the Sergeants coming in very late, so for Torpid did go for the double Sentinel build, which does cost a lot of requisition in the early game. And just seeing the triple aspect of the Avenger upgrade here for Lomors provides some additional tankiness as well as the grenade ability. You can kill Sentinels with grenades if you are skilled enough, but definitely a bit harder to try and do. There are far easier ways of killing Sentinel. You know, Warlock going to try and come in here, but getting very low at the moment, so will be forced off. Do have an upgrade coming in here for the pass. It's going to be the crossbow pistol. Does allow us to do some decent damage in range. Grenades actually going to get thrown onto the Sentinel. It does do a decent chunk of damage, but overall that Sentinel is still healthy enough. That Dire Avenger squad is so low. May die to a Stomp even, it's that low. Stomp is going to go down. Overall it's going to miss. And while the Sentinel is very low, these Dire Avengers are even lower. The squad is actually going to go down. It's on 3 HP. Grenade is going to miss the Sentinel. Dire Avengers were able to kill the Sentinel. It would have been a decent trade there for Lomors to lose the Dire Avenger squad to a Sentinel, but to lose the Dire Avenger squad and not secure the kill on the Sentinel, Torpid should be able to dominate the early game here with this little advantage.
Now we've got a chance.
Guardian Weapons team now out on the field, but even then that's still going to struggle against these Sentinels. One can easily flank, or both of them can potentially flank as well. In a position like this, it's a bit harder to try and do so, but Sentinel may just be able to walk up into the face of the Guardian Weapons team and just knock it down the staircase. One issue with these Sentinels, they are not the quickest at bashing power. Sentinels look like they're just going to fall back for some repairs. Because just on that right hand side, should easily be able to clear down the Dire Avenger squad by herself. She does do the same amount of melee damage, but crossbow pistol allows us to kind of sit behind some green cover and just pick away at some models. However, if Dire Avengers enter a building, not really much that you can do against that. Just going to get poked and prodded here. It's going to be a second Guardian Weapons team here for Lomors. Inquisitor, when trying to exit the building like that, the Inquisitor can make use of the crossbow pistol to try and lock the Dire Avengers down, so do need to be careful about leaving the building to try and poke down that Inquisitor there. One generator has already been torn down, a second one is definitely going to fall as well. And Torpid going to take a defensive position here with a single Guardsman squad just building a multi-last turret. Going to be incredibly annoying for Lomors to deal with. We'll have to try and force his way through that. This one Sentinel though is taking a lot of damage and Torpid's not paying attention to it. He's paying attention to the top side of the map.
So the generator is online.
Multi-last turret also going to fall at the same time. Because it does use Hammer of the Witches there, but coming in a bit too late though. And Warlock is just going to poke away at some Guardsmen here with that Immolator. Definitely helps at taking down some Guardsman models, doing some increased damage against infantry and also doing damage over time. It does feature the Immolate ability, which allows you to clear structures, and also good against buildings, good against infantry if it also groups up as well. Sentinel going to come in here. Grenade has already been used on these Dire Avengers, so they're just going to enter the building here. Not really much else that they can do. Sentinel could potentially just try and poke him down, but we'll be there for quite some time. And Lomors is going to regain some map control, 420 VPs, 317. This Inquisitor actually in a position where the Dire Avengers cannot reach because that tree is in the way. Guiding Weapons team is going to try and set up here. And Torpid will be able to get the capture here, but is overall going to be forced out of the area or forced into a retreat. Lomors actually opting for some Banshees, which could potentially work, but he's very low on power. His tier 2 going to be incredibly delayed. The Weapons team are going to try and set up in the face of these guardsmen, but it's taken a lot of damage in trying to do so. If it had a little bit more health, it could have definitely tanked that, but it was in a bit of a rough position. These Dire Avengers, though, taking a lot of damage. Sentinel is going to try and come in for a stomp. It's taking a lot of damage. But stomp on cooldown, Warlock might be able to finish it off. The Immolator does okay against the Sentinel. You can also use the Psychic Blast as well, but I think it's a bit too healthy to finish off at the moment, so we'll be able to just about get away with there. Going to be a Webway Gate placed down next to this Guardian Weapons team. There is a Webway Gate in base, so you can see Lomors, if he's able to hold his position for a little bit longer, can reinforce on the field here, or bring his units back onto the field rather.
Won't be long, sir.
Banshees are going to come in, instantly gain locks down by the crossbow pistol. They could retreat away and try and make use of the gate, but Chimera is on the field. In fact, sorry, Banewolf on the field. This Banewolf is going to be quite difficult for Lomors to deal with. He's actually focusing down this generator in this engagement. That Warlock is quite low, but should be able to get away. And he was going to retreat away, unable to actually get inside the gate in time. Banewolf, I imagine, is going to just make its way now over to the generator farm, and we'll be able to get a full gen wipe here. Lomors doesn't have an answer. He's actually putting some more Banshees, does cancel that though. Currently on 84 power. Compared to Torpid, he's already got a Banewolf out on the field, and Banewolf does cost 75 power, so big power advantage here to Torpid. Having that much spending power in tier 2 before Lomors has even started taking up himself.
We are under attack. Generator coming up.
Banewolf just kind of cruising around, has not actually torn down any power, or isn't heading towards any power yet. It looks like it's gonna go somewhere. Looks like he's going to make his way down towards this bottom power node.
So the generator is online.
Banewolf being unable to capture, should just head straight for the power node.
Orders, sir. Don't ask questions. That's her job.
Lomors though, 115 power, still a long way off tier 2. Quiz to deck. Going to trap down some Banshees. It's also getting the Excruciators as well, so we could see the Assailants get used in these Banshees. These Banshees are going to be shut down so hard by the Inquisitor. Sentinel and Banewolf getting a bit stuck on each other. Sentinel decapping the Banewolf, tearing down the power nodes, and Guardsman going to resume the capture after the Sentinel has decapped the items. And tier 2 now started for Lomors, and Torpid has opted to play it safe and actually go for a Lomors generator farm.
Now we've got a chance.
So Lomors definitely having a slight victory there. The Warlock jumping in for this barrel here. So the Banewolf though is just going to make its way towards the generator farm now though. For some reason that was a bit of a delayed reaction, or delayed action. But that's going to be able to freely fire away. We will see some Bright Lance weapons upgrades come in soon, but the Banewolf has got 600 HP, so is a bit fragile. We'll need to be careful. Overall, the Banewolf is an incredible support unit if you just use it in regular combat. It's capable of doing more than just bashing power. Some guardsmen just here on the right hand side of the map, going very blue once again here for Torpid. 292 VPs, 314 Lomors with a slight VP advantage here. It's going to try and make use of these webway gates as much as possible to try and regain some map control, but Banewolf will easily come down and tear it down. This is a bit of a rough spot to have all your units bail out in straight into a Banewolf. There is no Bright Lance here. And although the Banewolf did take a bit of damage, it's taking some rear armor hits though. Is overall going to make it out of there alive. There are some Banshees Here with the aspects of fleetness, I feel like the aspects of strength may have been a better choice here against Imperial Guard. The heavy melee would have been best suited, since unless there's Ogrins on the field, the aspects of fleetness upgrade doesn't come in as handy, I guess. But there are Ogrins coming out onto the field here, so we'll see how they do. I think there's really much to answer the Ogrins other than the Banshees and the Warlock himself. Still no Falcon out on the field here for Lomors, or no vehicle at all. Brightlands Weapons team going to set up and tear down almost immediately. And Inquisitor looking fairly kitted out. Do you see the live air Heresius? Yeah. Does provide some additional NG regen to the Inquisitor, so can spam abilities to Heart's Content. Going to lock down Dire Avenger squad and the Brightlands Weapons team. Banewolf is on the other side of the map at the moment, so Brightlands not really able to do too much, but will start targeting down that Sentinel. But the Inquisitor, though, just kind of dominating in this engagement here, just uncontested. May even finish off the Brightlands Weapons team. That was really needed to remain alive there for Lomors. There is a second Brightlands Weapons team out on the field, but this Warlock, though, not retreating away, is actually going to fall down to these Ogrins. Lomors does call GG after those subsequent losses, and the Banshees even losing their Exarch just before the game ended as well. Things are going to go towards Torpid's side for game 2. Okay, let's roll once again. Man, I hate that horn. Okay, Torpid is once again a reroll. And jumping into the third and final game of the series, Torpid going to be a Lord General on the left-hand side and Lomors with a Warp Spider Exarch on the right-hand side. The matchup the two players did not want to play in the second game, but are going to be forced to play in game number 3. Torpid going to be going for some Guardsmen first in this particular game. Could we see a double Sentinel build from him? We potentially could. You know, Lomors going to be going for the triple Dire Avengers again, which is kind of the de facto build against Imperial Guard in a 1v1 situation.
It is captured. A power node. Roger.
The fact that we don't actually have any Sergeant upgrades yet could potentially indicate another Sentinel, although Torpid's already spent some money, so it's actually going to be on a power node instead. So Lord General just going to try and force melee here, because these Dire Avengers, both squads, already forced into a retreat, not wanting to take any further multiple losses. And Volkswagen, the Exarch, just going to make use of the building here, actually able to reach at that quite awkward angle there. And the Sergeants are going to get purchased here from the Guardsman squad, or just one Sergeant for now. Sentinel just going to be very annoying. I don't believe that natural requisition was actually captured by Lomors at all so far in this game. Looks like he sent all of this stuff towards the top side of the map. Sort of walks by that can do though. Dire Avengers though, a little bit exposed. Do see the aspects of the Avenger upgrade going to be the first purchase here. However, that squad is already being forced off. Spider Exarch is going to try and type the Lord General here in melee, and Lomors is fighting outside of any sort of cover whatsoever, so it's quite fragile. Sentinel does have a stomp upgrade on the way, but not quite in time. And Lord General is actually going to purchase the Sergeant, and it starts reinforcing on the field there. And Torpid with some dominant map control in the very early stages of the game. That power node just receiving the bombardment from all these last guns and the last mounted turret on the Sentinel. Dive Rangers are going to make their way back out to base again, but Sentinel is still on full HP, so Sentinel should be able to pick away a couple of models before pulling back. In fact, decides to just back out altogether after securing the power node. Lomors going to be making his way towards the mid-side here. Spider Exarch out in the open, does need to be a bit careful, and due to the med packs being handed out to some units, Guardsmen going to be healed back up to full HP. However, already getting quite low once again. Sentinel does need to be careful, the Guardsmen are standing behind this, and sometimes I can actually path block it. We could even see a grenade get thrown down on the Sentinel if there is a lack of reaction from Torpid. Could be a bit rough. One grenade does go down, is going to be avoided. A second grenade is ready to go though. Sentinel going to be a little bit exposed there. We could actually see a counter bash coming from Lomors with his army grouped up, but a bit worried that he will end up losing quite a few models. His squads are a little bit low at the moment. That Sentinel very much healthy. The Lord General is back on the field, does actually have all his retinue members back on the field as well. And Lomors is actually going to be forced off by the looks of it here. Grenade is actually just going to do more friendly fire damage there by the looks of it, rather than actually damaging Torpid. One retinue model does go down here for the Lord General, but overall I think the Dire Avengers took more damage there. Castin's on the field now. And Lomors, we've not actually had a Guardian Weapons team from him at the moment. He's actually been bleeding quite a few models there, so hasn't actually had the resources to afford one. Torpid in control of the entire center of the map there, with the exception of the power node at the very bottom. Torpid's economy is going to be massively higher in comparison to Lomors. He's just on his natural requisition and has the just natural power there. Dire Avengers are going to get caught out. We need to be careful of these Castions. One grenade is going to get thrown down. It's going to clip that Sentinel a little bit. Looks like Torpid may have potentially been typing as that message was going down there. And Spider Exarch and these Dire Avengers not really going to have the damage or strength to try and engage Torpid's army here. Dire Avengers are going to try and sprint down towards the bottom side of the map, but Torpid has got himself set up in a pretty decent position at the moment. He's going to bash power. There's even an IED being placed down on the ground here. So if Lomors does overextend, can try and catch him out. There is no detection from him at the moment as well, so Dire Avengers could quite easily get caught out by that if they're not careful. Even in the later stages of the game, can also get caught out by it when you're trying to retreat away and then have your last few models being killed off. Two generators are going to go down. Two Dire Avenger models also going to go down as well. And Torpid is just going to pull back a little bit here. It's going to be taken up to tier 2 fairly soon. There's only 5 power off it. Dire Avengers though taking a lot of damage, going to be forced off there. And Torpid going to go as far as trying to secure this natural requisition point, although it decides to back away as the Guardian Weapons team is going to set up in time. 485 VPs, 210 VPs are taken down incredibly quickly here for Lomors. And when tier 2 hits, we can even see a heavy turret get placed down here by Torpid. One Dire Avenger squad again to get caught out there. Grenade does get thrown down, but the Sentinel does dodge it. And Sentinel just going to regroup here with the Lord General. Lomors is going to call a very early GG here. And game 3 going to go towards Torpid. Torpid will win the series 2-1 against Lomors. That'll be another win for him in the group stages of Elite League Season 3. If you enjoyed the stream, be sure to follow or subscribe. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys next time.